This Spiraken mini movie review contains adult language, mature situations, epic music, hopeful moments, DC comic characters finally featuring in the same film, poorly CGI'd faces, crappy villains, and the fate of the DCEU. Listener discretion is advised. Spiraken mini movie review, Justice League. Hey everyone, it's Xan from www.spiraken.com saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, what's up? Yes, I am back for another fun-filled episode of the Spiraken mini movie review, the podcast that tells you about new movies and how they are. We don't give a rating, we just tell you the basics about it and if it's worth watching or not. You can check out any of our earlier episodes at www.spiraken.com, or you can email me at xanspiraken.com or Twitter me at Spiraken. Now, let's get to the part we've all been waiting for, because this is the day of Anime NYC, and I should be getting ready and enjoying this con, but instead I went to watch this amazing movie first. And let me tell you about this film, which, well, we've been waiting for a long time to come out. And what am I talking about? I am talking about Justice League, the fourth installment of the DCEU and the latest attempt for Warner Brothers to keep that DC film franchise working. And did it work? Well, kinda. So to get the nitty-gritty out of the way, this film was directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon was there to do rewrites, and then he took over when Zack Snyder took a break because he had to deal with the death of his daughter, which is a very sad tragedy, and our prayers are with you, Mr. Snyder, even though you have put a lot of the other DCEU films in the crapper, because a lot of them have been crap. And as I said, this is now the fifth DCEU film. You had Man of Steel, which was okay. You had Batman v Superman, which, let's be honest, it was a crapshoot. It was pretty bad. There were some nice elements of it. There were some great homages to The Dark Knight Returns, but it was not a good film. You had Suicide Squad, which that movie was utter garbage. It was really bad, and just, I don't know why you even made it. I mean, I understand you want to capitalize on the popularity of Harley Quinn and Joker and all these other characters, but it was not good. I mean, the best part was El Diablo, which is really cool, but the film was not good at all. And Harley Quinn was just there to be whack bait. It wasn't Harley Quinn. She had no reason to be part of the Suicide Squad. If you want a good Suicide Squad movie, watch Suicide Squad Escape from Arkham. It's an amazing film. I highly recommend it. And animated, it was perfect. They should use that script for the Suicide Squad movie. But I digress. Then you had Wonder Woman, which, if you listen to the Spiraken Main movies we talked about earlier this year, and I really enjoyed that film. I think it was really well done, and I thought that it's a great introduction into the world of Wonder Woman. It was a great period piece, and it was an amazing film on its own right, and I did enjoy it. So this film, Justice League, is the culmination of that, and it stars Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Ezra Miller as Barry Allen the Flash, Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry / Aquaman, Ray Fisher as Cyborg, aka Victor Stone, Jeremy Irons as Alfred, Diane Lane as Martha Kent, and J.K. Simmons as everyone's favorite angry commissioner, Commissioner Gordon. And this is one of the most expensive films ever made. This was upwards in the $300 million, and honestly, for that much money, there were a lot of mistakes in it. Let's get the main thing everyone's going to talk about out of the way. The CG in this movie is terrible. Henry Cavill, for the reshoots, he had to grow a mustache for the new movie. I think he's in Mission Impossible, the 6th Fallout, and he had a thick mustache. So what they did is they CG'd out his mustache. The CG looks terrible. You could see the mustache is still there. It looks like they just kind of palette swapped it or erased it. It looks terrible. You had that going on. Steppenwolf, the villain, looks really bad. He looks like video game villain bad. I mean, he looks a little better than the bad guys from Suicide Squad. And a little better than Doomsday, but not by much. And there are several other things that really upset me about this film. However, they did not overshine the positives of this film, because I went in with very low expectations. And I'm happy to say that this movie was enjoyable. First off, one thing that really surprised me is there were so many little Easter eggs to the other DCEU. It made me happy. You had references to Green Lanterns in a really cool way, and it made me happy. Once I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm good. This movie could be crap. I'm going to enjoy this movie. And it's a fun ride. The movie is fun. It's a lot more lighthearted and more optimistic than the other films. There were some statements in this film which kind of made no sense, because they say that Superman is the hope of the world, but in the last two films, he wasn't really the hope of the world. He was just, they saw him as a god, not as hope, and that was a little weird. But the film, let me get over the plot. The plot is that, to slight spoilers for Batman v Superman, with the loss of Superman to Doomsday, the world is not prepared for the threat of Steppenwolf and his apocalyptic army. So now Batman, Ben Affleck, is trying to assemble a team to combat this extraterrestrial foe, and they try to work together to become a team and to save the day. And do they save the day? Well, it's a superhero movie. Of course they save the day. And all the characters are really well done. They have the personality down. Jason Momoa, you thought was going to be a frat boy? No. He's a lot of fun as Aquaman. He's sarcastic, he's snarky, he's strong, and he's not just that lame, I could talk to fish. No. Straight up from the comic, they say, you talk to fish? Like, no. I can understand them, but I don't talk to them, you moron. He is kick-ass. Ben Affleck is a much happier Batman. He's not as, I'm going to shoot everybody in the face. He's actually a really good Batman. A little more humorous and a little more approachable. Gal Gadot is the heart of this story. She is amazing as Wonder Woman. They do downplay her theme a little bit. We'll get to that when we talk about the soundtrack. But I do like her, and she was amazing. She is the boss of the Justice League. She is their leader. Now, Ezra Miller, he is the Flash, and he was okay. They make him very different than what you'd expect. If you've watched the TV show The Flash, this is a very different Flash. This is not Barry Allen, the smart, charismatic guy. This is Barry Allen, twitchy, angsty, and doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe he has Asperger's, maybe not. We don't know. He's very out there. Also, his costume I really didn't like. When I saw it at New York Comic Con, I said this, I didn't like the design of the costume with a bunch of wires across it. It looked cheap. It looked fake. And it still looked cheap and fake on the screen. He does have some amazing moments, and you see how his Speed Force works compared to the one from the TV show. And it works a little different, and it does fit this character, this version of him. Now, on the other hand, Cyborg, wow, they did a really good job explaining his story well. You empathize with him, and while yes, his initial design is crappy and it looks really bad, by the end of the film, they do kind of figure out what they want to do with him, and he fits and he works well. And he looks good. I'm actually looking forward for a Cyborg film where they can make him actually be a great protagonist, because Cyborg is a very underdeveloped and not as popular character as some of the other superheroes, and he actually is a pretty powerful and pretty awesome superhero. And I'm actually excited for it. And like I said, the villain was underwhelming, but he was not as bad as so many of the other villains. He was better than Zod, he was better than Luthor, and he was a lot better than Doomsday and Enchantress. He had a reason what he's doing, he had a plan, he's going to succeed with his plan, and how he goes about accomplishing his plan is actually pretty creative and clever, even though at one point it's just by luck he accomplishes one thing. However, he is a little bit menacing, even though he does look like CGI garbage. Now, what happens in the film, I'm not going to spoil because you have to go see it. And compared to the other movies, it's a lot better. It's almost, they're trying to course correct on what they're doing. They may fix it, they may not. I honestly don't know. But this gives me a little bit of hope for the DCEU. Now, the soundtrack in this film is very different because Hans Zimmer said, I'm done with superhero soundtracks. So they had to find someone else. I mean, you had the guy Junkie XL who wrote and composed the soundtrack for Batman v Superman, but he pretty much sucked. So they went to Danny Elfman and they said, you know what, we're going to hire you. And Danny Elfman, For those who don't know, he wrote the original score for Batman, Batman Returns, Batman the Animated Series. He agreed to do this with one caveat, in that Batman's theme was the only theme that he's like, it's my theme. And they utilized the Batman theme from the 89 movie amazingly. They actually have it. Also, there's some other old school themes, maybe one by a certain John Williams, in the background in a really awesome moment. The opening is a cover by Sigrid, which is the song everybody knows. I know that song from Pump Up the Volume, which is a movie I really want to review one day in this podcast. But you have some great soundtracks in this, and it's not bad. It's not as ominous or as angry or as angstful as the other DCEU films, not including Wonder Woman. We're talking about Suicide Squad, where it's all ghetto pop in the newest movies possible. And now Man of Steel, you didn't even understand that the soundtrack was useless. The Superman theme was I know some people say it's. I love the Superman theme. It's amazing. I hated the new Superman theme, the one from Man of Steel. I thought it was pretty bad. Also, the Batman theme in Batman v Superman it didn't exist. It was not there. So the fact is we had the old theme in there. Made me kind of happy. Made me smile a little bit. I would have liked to hear a little bit more of what Jason Momoa's theme is and what Ezra Miller's theme is. I could have sworn I heard a little bit of the Flash theme from the TV show. Not entirely sure. But soundtrack is pretty good. I may pick it up. I may not. I don't know. However, now, the point is, should you watch this movie? I think so. I think it's a good film. I think it is enjoyable. It's a great popcorn film. Would I watch it again? Not really. I am excited to see some other movies. It's not like a Marvel movie where I see 3 of them. It wasn't like Wonder Woman where I saw it twice and I wanted to buy the Blu-ray. This one, I saw it once. It was okay. Now, the next film, if it's good, I may see it. And I'm happy that this was not a terrible train wreck, because I want DC to succeed. Don't get me wrong. I love Marvel, but my favorite superhero is Green Lantern. And I like Batman. I love Robin, Tim Drake Robin. So I want to see them succeed. In order for them to succeed, they have to do good. And I think that them moving it to Joss Whedon was a good idea. I think they should keep Zack Snyder the fuck away from all properties at this point. Just say, okay, Zack Snyder, you're going to be executive producer, that you're just kind of there. You have no say in these movies, because these movies aren't supposed to be dark and depressing. They're supposed to be uplifting. They're superheroes. They're there to make you have hope in this world and give a little bit of comedy. I think it would work a little better. If you don't agree with me, you can email me at xan@spiraken.com or on Twitter at @Spiraken. The random question of the day is going to be, did you think that this was better or worse than the Avengers? Let me know in the comments down below, and I guess